I'm just getting the stuff ready to tack the differential together. So I have these made up and I got them opened up to 1.252 inches. So I checked them with my caliper and I come pretty close to that. That was done at the machine shop at work. So I got two of these. These are a bit larger than the ones that go in the ends. So when I got this diff, it had a 742 casing. So basically I just emptied out the housing. I still left the pinion in there. You can probably see, maybe not. I'll lift her up. So I'm just going to put those pieces in here, tighten them up, and just get them squared up as well. Get ready to set it up. I also have my 1.25" shaft that I bought. So these fit very tight, which is only 2 thou bigger than the shaft is measured at. Anyway, maybe 3, because I don't think the shaft is exactly 1.250. All I did was put the pieces I made up in there, tighten them down so they're snug, they don't move around. I put the pumpkin in, and I put these guys inside the housing ends, and I put the shaft approximately centered. It's sticking out this side right now for an issue I'm going to show you. So if you look at this, it doesn't line up very well. It has more meat on the bottom. So then if I rotate this up, it kind of stays there. It follows that one spot, which means the housing tube is bent or just kind of curled up, like the stress has been relieved off it. So if I go to this side and I show you, this side lines up good, like it's good there all the way, like all the way around. So what I'm going to do is get this to the highest part, meaning the most deflection. I'm going to weld a little tab onto the bottom here, and I'm going to pull it to my vise stand to pull the tube down. It is supported here, so it should straighten out. I suppose the question is whether or not the stress would come back after, but it will have the shaft to hold it all straight anyway. In theory, you could weld this on like this because the shaft is holding it all together. It would be straight at the end and it wouldn't matter what the weld looks like, but aesthetically that looks terrible. So I'm going to try to pull it and I will show some more. Okay, so you can see I have this come along down to my vise to try to straighten out that tube. So what I ended up doing was heating this area along with the tension and cooling it with water, right, quench it, to pull the tube down, and that's where I got her straightened out. I didn't remember to put my gas on, so that's that. So this side, same deal. I just didn't have to have tension. I just made sure that from my stud here to out to the flange was the same as the other side from that stud to that flange, as I shown in my other videos. So now what I'm going to do is, so even pulling it, bent my little angle iron stand. So I'm going to take the tension off now and straighten it out so that I can at least have a steady platform. And then I'll weld it on. The shaft inside turns freely. I believe I am straight enough when I measured from here to here and there to here. I'm pretty well exact, maybe off 32nd. I'm going to fire up the welder and just hit like a root pass, and then I'm going to go and do another pass and another pass. The reason I kind of strapped it in like this is so that I can turn it while I'm welding and go up not welding, but you know, during the point and go around. So that's why it's like that. So. So I'm just going around my mini belt sander just to take the cap off this root pass, and I'll show you guys that. Okay, so there's my root pass ground down. I probably should have. Shaft's still turning good. I do have some porosities in that, but most of that's because, well, I had some tacks when I forgot to turn the gas on. And then welding in little segments like that, as well as I'm not a professional welder. So what I'm going to do, from the center up, I'm going to do a cap, and then from the center this way, I'm going to do a cap to complete the 3 passes all the way around. I am going to dress it off again, very much like it is, before I take it in to get it extra. Okay, so I'm going to hit the outside pass, then I'll do the inside pass on both sides. So the shaft still turns well. Oh, I even rolled right over. Okay, shaft still turns well. There's my second pass. It's not beautiful. Again, grinder and paint makes me the welder I ain't, as I heard on YouTube before. Anyway, so it's a little segmented because, you know, you have to stop and go, stop and go. But so now I'm going to do one in here to join this cap to the tube. Just going to brush it, wire brush here. Get that, but there they are, my 2 passes. A little bubble gummy, but All in all, I'll dress him up. Just because he's helped me out in the garage today. Well, visiting anyway. So I'm just going to finish dressing off these welds, and then I'll show you guys what they look like. Okay, so here's the finished grind down. So I got a bit of garbage up on the top of this bevel, but I'm just going to go over and fill that with just cosmetically. I am going to take it to get x-rayed tonight, and not that that's required, I don't think, but so I'm going to fill in a little bit of this garbage here just to make it look pretty, and I'll show you guys the top here. So that's just kind of ground down the 3 welds all the way around, so it's wider than that original bevel was, but I'm just trying to make it look better than obviously it did as the finished weld. It is a narrow diff, so it's not like you're gonna ever tell anybody it's a normal deal. So a couple things to note was this here. So I read that should be horizontal to each other, or parallel, sorry. So that's what I did, and it makes sense because this orientates your wheel cylinder. Then your brake lines will come down and follow the path. I put the protractor across here, across the 2 studs, like so, and read the degrees. And then I've also put it here to read the degrees off the pinion. So I've read that online. Another thing I did was, this factory welds appear to be friction welded, so I just kind of ground them off and just ran a bead over. I wasn't worried about grinding it flush and making it look overly pretty. I think this diff actually had one of those welds leaking on the lower side. I could spin it up here. I think this one here was leaking before, so I just ran them both. I'm okay with the little weld deal I got, because it's better than what was there. So I'm going to take out the shaft, take out the pucks, and have a look. So the shaft still turns fine. Oh, turn the old diff over here, but it still turns fine, so everything's still lined up. The little quenching thing worked great to straighten out the tube. So other than that, yeah, we'll see what the inside looks like. Okay, so I took out the shaft, and if I look in here, so what I did was, there's a few spots that look like lack of penetration. So I went in and put my wand inside here and just kind of tacked a few of those spots up. So you can see that one goobery ball there, and that you're gonna see, and there's a bit of lip there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Anyway, I've sanded down with the mini belt sander in there. So basically this thing's been welded from both sides. I'm gonna, like I said, take it to x-ray, not because more as a novelty, because I'm a non-destructive testing technician. By no means do I think I'm gonna become a welder, but so that's it. You can see there's a bit of burn mark from the inside out. My little stand here was gouging up the frame here, so I'm just gonna dress that off, but hopefully I'll have the x-rays done tonight. Alright, so I just cut off my tab, and I just kind of dressed it off. So you can see things like this area in here where the cap kind of met the tube. Those are going to show up on the x-ray. These scratches will even, depending on how long the shot time is, if I don't blow through the tube entirely. This is quite built up, so it's going to be quite light on the x-ray compared to this, so like I said, it might not. But I don't know too many amateurs that are gonna go get their welds x-rayed anyway. It's just because I have the capability. I'm going to do it out of sheer novelty, really. The diff is gonna stay together even if the welds are not that good, so I think they'll be fine enough. I should have x-rayed the first diff just to see what that joint looked like, but maybe in the future I'll get one of these ends again, cut it off somewhere up here, and I'll x-ray this part just to see what a factory one looks like. Alright, so the next shot should be the x-ray. I dressed off all the little scratches just with the air grinder and a sanding disc, so I'm hoping she's good. All right. Okay, so something I just thought about was, let's see if these are square. So if you look here, it's reading, I'm sorry, I'm not quite square there yet. It's around 86. The reason it's off like that because the stand bent when I was pulling it, but so 90-degree separation should be around there. So it should be 0 minus 6 degrees or so. Try to get in there. It's gonna take a while. You can see it's bouncing between there, so it'll take a while to slow down there and stop. But I'm trying to get this to show up. Anyway, there you go. Let's try this one. This is because, again, the stand is crooked now because of the. So we're 4 degrees over, I think, so it should be still 90 degrees. 4 degrees. Oh, I just touched it. Shit. Can't get a good shot for you guys here. Anyway, it's pretty well 4 degrees over, so those turned out square to each other. Alright, so here's the x-ray of the right hand side. Fitter 1, the diff, right end. So in here, you can see I have a bit of lack of penetration. This is the lower part of the weld. And then up here, it falls around. Some of this, like this stuff in here, is that like where the weld cap meets the tube. I showed earlier, you will see it, but because this is really straight, follows that axle end tube. So that's the right hand side. I also have a here. I have the 90-degree angle from it. So here I'm just using the window as a viewer. So on this one, you can see just a bit in here. A bit in here, and then again some of the scattered where the weld hits the tube there. So there we go. Yeah. So this one is the left hand side. See there, left hand, sorry, I'm just using my window here, but you can see, so on the left hand side you have this mark way over here, which when you look at the video, there's like a groove in the outer axle tube end, and that's what that is. That's what that mark is there. You can see it's probably a wear mark from an old emergency brake being in the wrong spot, but there is some of the cap to tube mark and lack of pen as well, lack of penetration. So that's left one angle, so then rotate the different 90 degrees. Okay, so these aren't taken in accordance with any code or anything, they're just taken for novelty and information. Here's a bit more lack of penetration, and up here is the weld cap to tube, just because it presents itself a shallower angle in there. You can also see this is the, it lines up with this, so this would be the taper part, so this would have been my last weld down along the cap here. So that's that. It's the welds. So just for information, so all I'm going to do is on the inside, I'll put my wand in here, my MIG wand, and I'll just run a bead in here anyway, just to make sure it's good, staying away from where the seal goes in, which is right in here. That's where the seal stops. So I'll go in and I'll cover this again with a bead from the inside on both sides, just to make sure. But I don't think, You can't really do this with radiography, but on the left side where you have that groove, let me find the other side. So if I use this groove here that's in here, I don't know if you guys can see it, this groove here, this is that piece that's worn on by the emergency brake. So if you don't really do this in radiography is compare the two depths, because you can't, but due to the density changes and how it looks, it's less than that gap is on the outside. So it's not a lot for how much is there. It just, you can see it. And again, I don't know how many amateurs are going to show you their welds on an X-ray film after. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to do, is just run a bead on the inside on these guys, and leave it there, because now it'll be extra cap. So like up in here, I'm thicker than the factory was, and I'll have a bead on the inside to distribute the weight even more. So I'm good. I think that's going to conclude the diff narrow.